Alright, welcome back to another episode of Emotional Nightmares. My name is Tyler. I'm your host. With me I have my friend Jamie. On today's episode, we're going to talk a little bit about emotional maturity and what that kind of looks like. So we're going to kind of go through different forms of relationships. And I think first where we're going to start this is before we can do any of this, we have to understand our insecurities, right? Especially with like intimate relationships. I think that's where we're going to start, is understanding a lot of the insecurities that go into that and understanding how those are toxic and not allowing emotional maturity within a relationship. Because like when you talk about emotional maturity, you have to talk about trust, right? And one of the things that like I see very common, and I've been a victim of this myself, right? Where victim's a poor choice of words, but like I've been guilty of this, where you know you're with your partner and you're worried about like, are they going to cheat on you, right? And that, for one, that comes out of trauma, right? That comes out of like past experiences and everything like that. But two, it's also kind of understanding that like, you know, like the girl I'm with now, like her phone is her phone. Like I'm not going through it. You know what I mean? My phone is my phone. She's not going through it. There's no reason to. You know, it's understanding that you have to be able to have some level of trust of like, I can trust it. It doesn't matter who you talk to. Whatever is being discussed, if it is alarming, you'll tell me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like that's how I look at it. I didn't always. Right? I mean, let's be clear. I do have one divorce under my belt, right? So like, in that, but that relationship taught me a lot, right? Because it taught me like how I was toxic. And first of all, I got into that relationship after getting out of one that the girl cheated on me, and I immediately, I didn't take any time. I just jumped into another relationship, ended up going into that. It was a mess. And it was a mess because like I was toxic, right? I did not have the emotional maturity that I should have had in that relationship. And a lot of that is, you know, these toxic behaviors, these insecurities of like, are you doing this? Who's this person? What are they doing? You know, and I see a lot of people in that environment now. And it's also understanding too, like, you know, the relationship I'm in now, I've learned that like, if that's going to happen, there's nothing I'm going to do to prevent that, you know? All I can do is be me. But if I'm going to constantly hound on that, it's going to push to that.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Because I also believe we speak things into existence. So if I say that all the time, what do you think's going to happen?
It's going to happen.
You know what I mean? So what do you think, like, with trust, right? Because, like, trust is always the big thing. And I think it's bigger than just that, right? Because you also have to trust, like, your partner on, like, your emotional stability. Like, if I'm, you know, I got to open up to you emotionally, and I have to trust that, like, you're not going to use this information against me and create like a gaslight situation, or create a situation where like I'm opening up to you about my insecurities and you're using that as a tool to manipulate me
Or hurt you.
or hurt me.
I think a lot of that comes back to like, like you said, some of our past experiences. I know I've been in many toxic relationships in my life where for some reason I stuck around or whatever not, or I even became the toxic one in the relationship where I just wanted to hurt back or hurt them with whatever I could because I wasn't ready to be in a relationship. And the relationship I'm in now, it's like you gotta trust like that person no matter what. And I think it comes down to a lot of trusting yourself and learning to like let go of like your fears and your past experiences. Because like what happened to me in these other relationships should not come into play in the relationship I'm in now.
Yeah.
Because this is a completely different person. I'm dating a different person with a different name. So like what Jan or Jill did to me before shouldn't have anything to do with said Betty or whatever not. But like as a man, like we're always worried we're gonna get hurt, and it's hard, I guess, as a man to like let somebody into the softer side of who we really are, because like
Yeah.
as men in this world, like we're always supposed to be like this rugged, like tough, stable, reliable person, when most of the time inside my head, like I'm very uncomfortable and like I go through a lot of things that I don't express, and I don't know if it's the way we're raised or the mentality of how people perceive as men should be. Like I cry, like growing up around some of the people that were much older than me, like men don't cry and we just suck it up and stuff like that. But the truth is like we go through a lot of shit in our heads, and like trust is like one of the things that like scares me the most. I don't know about most other men, but like being able to trust somebody and not pick up the phone and be like, oh, who she's talking to and this and that, like that's not a healthy relationship.
Mm-mm.
And that's not a healthy relationship with myself if that's the kind of life I'm living in. As far as like if I'm in a relationship where I gotta constantly pick up your phone, like there's two sides of that. Is it because the person I'm with and I see something that I should know, or is it because it's something I need to work on as far as like my insecurities? Like you said, like what are my insecurities? Like am I afraid to get as hurt as I did before? Because I fell in love and I got hurt, and I fell in love again and I got hurt. And I guess it comes down to a point of, you know what, no matter what, if I get hurt or not, like, why am I going to stop trying to love and, like, let somebody in? Because I think that's the biggest hurt of all. Not of that I let someone in who hurt me, but at least I let someone in, like.
Well, I think so. There's a couple big things here, right? Because if we're talking emotional maturity, the mature part of this is understanding that the people that have, like, it's okay to allow people to come in, and the people that have hurt us in the past, that's a reflection on them and not on me, right? So, like I've been in relationships before. Like I dated this girl one time, right? And she ended up, she went and she cheated on me, and that was a reflection on her. There was nothing that I didn't like push her into that direction, right? In a way, right? Because like I look at it like what was going on in my life at that time, right? And in that time, and I talk about this often, in that time frame, I wasn't doing the right things emotionally and mentally, right? Because I used to work at CYS, right? So I had sex abuse cases. So I'm dealing with children that are, I'm dealing with like 7-year-olds and 8-year-olds talking about being sexually abused all day. I'm going home, she wants to cuddle. I'm like, no. Like, I'm disgusted right now, right? But I wasn't communicating that either. So the emotional maturity would have been me effectively communicating and explaining, like, this is what's going on, and, like, I'm really in a dark place, but I didn't. And, she kind of started taking that personal, and she found somebody that, he saw a weak link in the armor, and he did what any normal person's going to do, right? Because at the end of the day, this whole home wrecking bullshit is bullshit, right? Because it's not that person's fault, right? That guy don't know me. He didn't know me. We're not friends. He don't know me at all. So he has no emotional connection at all. All he knew is he saw my ex, thought she was attractive, tried to sleep with her. Obviously, she went with it. That's a reflection on her, because when times were getting tough, where we both failed at was we didn't communicate and explain, like, hey, I'm feeling like this. Because, again, if she would have been like, I'm feeling like this, and like, we would have probably had that conversation. But at the same time, I also have to take responsibility for my actions of like I wasn't communicating either. And then in return, I carried that on to the next one, the next relationship, because I didn't take time to understand this isn't a reflection of me. I'm not a bad person. I didn't, I'm not doing all this goofy shit that's causing this. This is a reflection on them. And I think all too often when we're talking emotional, just emotional in general, when we're talking infidelity, we carry that on, and we harbor that into what did I do wrong? What did I do to cause this? And it's like this isn't a reflection on you. If you're being emotionally mature, you have to understand this isn't a reflection on you. This is on them. This shows that when times got tough, she chose that route. So be it. You know what I mean? I think that's one of the biggest things. That's one of the biggest things with emotional. It's more than just in intimate relationships, right? Because like it's friendships too.
Communication, friendship, trust. Like there's a lot that goes into a mature relationship. Like, the relationship I'm in, we've both made mistakes, not of like severe levels, but one of the things is like not holding that grudge. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like I'm upset. We had a fight, but like not being able to like carry that on, or even carry the grudges from like past relationships. Like she cheated on me. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not good enough. Like I'm just not worthy of someone loving me as much as I can love them, because like you said, it comes back to that's a reflection of them, not me. But what's my part into it? Kind of like where you're going with it. Like what could I have done a little differently? And like I was just saying, like it's hard for men, or at least for me, to like express where I'm at. Like now, the relationship I'm in now, I have no problem expressing like, hey, like I got all this shit going on. Like 52 years, my parents are getting divorced, and we got her granddaughter in the mix with a whole bunch of stuff going on with that, and then dealing with 60, 70 people in early recovery, and it, like mentally it gets to me, but I can express that. Like I can trust myself to let that go. Does it feel uncomfortable? Yeah, because like I'm vulnerable, and like anytime I've been vulnerable before and expressed that, like those past relationships, they've used that to either manipulate or hurt me back, or just hurt me in general. And like that's not a reflection, like you said, of me. It's a reflection of them. And like learning to like let go of that and move on and forgive that part of it is like how to get to like the next level of being able to have a healthy and mature relationship. Like, where you guys can disagree but still agree. We can disagree to agree, like, and like it, being able to accept the person where they're at, and like in a sense not being possessive and like controlling. Like, oh, let me see your phone, who you talking to, or where you been, and stuff like that. Like, like just
Allowing them to live their life,
yeah,
right? Because that's a healthy relationship. You
yeah,
live your life, I'm gonna do my life. The goal, the point's not to control each other's life. The point is, I'm doing this, you're doing this, and we're doing this together, right? And like, nah, man, like something you just said, I think, I kind of lost my train of thought there in the process of it. But one of the things that, man, it's so crucial, like with our friends even, I have to trust your integrity, right? Like I have to trust that you're just being honest with me. And like I always tell people, like you can lie to me if you want to. It only hurts you, right? Like as long as we're just honest with each other and understand that like we can be honest with each other and just take it for what it is. Something that I really like about the relationship I'm in now, like with the girl I'm with, because there are such things as trauma responses in relationships. And like one of the things that like I think her and I do very well is like we'll get mad at each other for something and be like, wait, this has nothing to do with you. This is, she's actually better at this than me, where she'll get mad at something or be like, wait a minute, I'm really mad right now because in another relationship I was in, this is what it felt like when they were doing this. And when she says that, that allows me to look at it and be like, okay, so let me rephrase this then. Because I'm not coming at you in a negative way. I'm not like coming at you aggressively. I'm coming at you because I'm concerned about this issue or whatever an issue may be. And like her and I, it's very good at being able to sit down and express what's going on. Expression is, if you can't express successfully, like what's going on, like you're saying about being vulnerable, if you can't do that, nothing's ever going to be healthy. That's not mature. You don't have any emotional maturity if I can't express. You know what I mean? Like what's going on. That goes into your friends, you know? And like communicating with them what's going on and like understanding it, that the trauma might be from something different. Like, I'm probably going to get this episode flagged right now, right? But, because I'm going to say some inappropriate words that's going to flag me. I'll try not to. But I think back to like, you know, like I had something that I had to learn is you have to learn your own emotional triggers because you're in control of your emotional responses, because that there is emotional maturity, right? And like I got my friend that him and I one time were in a conversation and he was talking to me about how I was saying something. And it was because I was cursing a lot, right? Because I do that. And what he was saying wasn't wrong, right? Because he was saying like I need to change that, and it wasn't wrong. But for me, when I was younger, when I was a young kid, I had to go to speech class, and I had to go to speech class because I'm from I moved up here to the north from North Carolina, right? So they would say, and back then they weren't politically correct, right? So they would say how I was mentally challenged because I couldn't speak. And it wasn't that I couldn't speak, it was that I had a southern accent and a southern draw and shit. So, you know, I had some other people in my life that would also say that about me. So, like, it angered me, right? So when he was saying, like, that, all I heard was change your speech, you're mentally challenged or whatever. And it took me back to that place and I got mad. And I had to stop, and I stopped midway through the conversation. I was like, bro, this ain't on you. This is me. And let me explain the reason why. And I explained it, and he was like, yeah, bro, like I wasn't thinking anything like that. And I was like, I know, right? I know. But like, this is what I'm hearing right now. And I think when we're talking emotional maturity, you have to address, like, if you don't understand your emotional triggers, or why is it that I'm mad? You have to ask yourself, why am I mad right now? You know what I mean?
Yeah. What emotion am I feeling that is making me angry and act out of control in a sense?
Yeah.
Like, I'm not when I'm angry and I'm screaming, I know that I am not in control of like my emotions right now. And I think I've gotten to the point where I get angry, I get even more angry at myself because I know I'm out of control. Like, if I'm screaming or yelling, then I know that, like, I am not expressing myself well. I am not in control of myself. And what scares me even more is knowing that my out of control actions are easily manipulated by someone who's on a different level. And I think that bothers me more. So, like, I try to, like, teach myself how to react differently. Because, like, it's easier for us to feel more in control when we're screaming because we feel like the lion in the jungle, all powerful, like, you know, like we're in control, we're here to scare you. But like, I think that it's just like a reflection of like how scared I am inside sometimes, and like being able to communicate that with somebody and like learning to trust myself to let that out and like let them in is like really difficult sometimes because like, you know, like I'm man, I'm not supposed to be scared of anything, you know, because that's kind of like how I was raised in that generation before me.
Yeah.
And like being able to like just breathe and like let that swelling of like that right in your chest, like let it go and be able to like communicate and verbalize it properly is sometimes difficult, you know, or coming back and not just apologizing, but be like, hey, and explaining like why or where I was at inside my head. Because sometimes I'm in here and the situation's nowhere near like you said, like it, you know, that person's not trying to like bring that out, but all of a sudden in my head I'm going back to some shit, you know, like, you know, don't, you know, like those insecurities in a sense, like these are the things that like make me feel fearful and like scared, you know, like childlike fear in a sense, like, and nobody likes to feel that way, but having someone I know I can trust and communicates and like those things, like that makes me feel comfortable, and I kind of like that now.
Yeah.
Where before it was just like this, I guess it's the feeling of getting comfortable with the uncomfortable. And in relationship, like being able to verbalize and like communicate, like she may not completely understand where I was at, but she understands where I'm coming from. And like having that connection is something that like I cherish.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think so. Also, with this emotional maturity, one of the things we have to talk about too is like you have to have. So you have to be able to do conflict resolution, right? Because any relationship's going to have conflict. But with that, you also have to be able to forgive each other, you know, because there's times in our relationships where in any relationship, man, there's going to be those instances where you say something or you do something that you didn't necessarily mean, right? Or like again, like an emotional trigger comes out and you just react in a fucked up way. You have to be able to, one, to acknowledge that. Like, I have to acknowledge that, like, what I may have said or done is not okay, right? And there's been times where, like, whether it be an intimate relationship, my friends, work, whatever it is, where I have to be able to say, like, hey, I'm wrong. You know, what I said was wrong. How I said this was wrong. I shouldn't have said this, or I shouldn't have even have said this way. I should have said it this way, right? And being able to forgive each other for like, okay, like I understand where you're coming from, and like this is maybe why it hurt me, or maybe why it affected me, and like I think that those are the building blocks that are most important, because at the end of the day, you also have to have that mutual respect for one another, right? Like I respect my girlfriend for, you know, who she is. I know she's always going to be honest with me whether I like it or not, because there's some times where I'm like, damn, like you probably shouldn't have told me that. Like you should have just lied to me. Jesus God. You know? But you have to be able to do that. And I think sometimes the other side of it is like I also, and this is the side that most of us hate to do, I have to look at your perspective, right? Like, if you're upset, I have to look at, okay, why? Tell me where you're coming from. And I have to be able to put myself in your shoes and say, would I be upset too? Right? Because sometimes, a lot of the times, we get so caught up in, I gotta do something, or I gotta do this, and we focus on trying to do some shit and forget that the other person's perspective on it. You know, and it might be something simple like, I want to go fishing. You know, and I've had times where I'm like, I want to go fishing, and like my buddies wanting me to go, and like I'm fucking going, and like my girlfriend's like, but it's your only day off, and like I wanted to go to dinner or something with you, and in my mind I'm thinking, well, I can do everything all at once, and like I'm not considering that that feeling behind it, because I'm stuck in, I want to do this, instead of like, well, how about I go do this, and then you and I go do this? It's, what do you mean I can't go do this? Are you trying to control my situation, right? And sometimes we get caught up in the, oh, this person's trying to control me. No, like put yourself in their shoes for a minute and see where they're coming from. You know what I mean? And I think that fucks us all up a lot. You know what I mean? And I think that's the difference between healthy versus unhealthy. Because when you look at what's unhealthy in a relationship, unhealthy is whatever the hell makes you question your boundaries. You know what I mean? Like, healthy is, these are my lines in the sand. I'm not okay with this. Period. You know what I mean? And like, unhealthy is like when that line in the sand gets a little wishy-washy, and I start allowing you to cross those lines, and you start allowing me to cross your lines. You know what I mean? Or like, we're not respecting each other's boundaries. You know what I mean? Like, I think that that's what creates that unhealthy line in the sand, and starts. And once that happens, resentments start building. And once resentment starts building, the rest of the toxic shit's gonna come out. And like, I know I'm petty. So, like, I'm petty. I know that. Like, I'll go tit for tat. I'm not above some dumb shit. You know what I mean? As much as I would love to, I always say, like, I'm still alive, so I know God ain't done with me yet. Like, I'm still healing, you know what I mean? Like, I can be petty real quick. And, so can the people in my life that I have relationships with. And you have to remember that, I think.
Like, meeting people and understanding they're an individual and they're not us is one of the hardest lessons I've had to learn. Because, like, I like everything to be my way, like, the way I want, how I want, when I want, and, like, that person's not me. But I love them because they're not me.
Yeah.
But then you gotta also, like, realize to yourself, like, I gotta accept them as who they are. Because I gotta accept myself how I am. And being able to, like, mediate that middle point where we come together. And sometimes it just flows that way, and sometimes shit just, like, kind of knocks it around a little bit and kind of tests the boundaries or checks your chin a little bit, and you're like, alright, what's more important? Like, me doing me, or, like, me coming together to, like, do it together in a sense? Because, like, no matter what we do, like, I might go this way, and you might go that way, but we always come back to the middle, to where we're at, you know what I mean? And,
yeah.
like, enjoy things together. Like, I might like making candles. She might like crocheting, whatever it might be. Like, that's the individual things that they enjoy doing. And, like, I might think crocheting's the dumbest thing in the world, but to that person, they really enjoy it, and it gives them a sense of, like, well-being, in a sense.
Where you grow together.
Yeah.
Right? Like, that's the maturity level, is you guys growing together.
Yeah. So, yeah, like, I might not want some crocheted blanket on the couch. She made that thing. I might hate crochet, but she made it, so it's beautiful to me.
Those are the warmest blankets, though. I don't know how the hell, like, they got nothing but holes in them, but man, they're so warm.
No, not to me. Like, I want a full blanket. What a soft shit, But, like, on a sense,
I think they're
like,
the warmest. Feel free to crochet a blanket and send it our way.
Tyler can have it,
Yeah.
I mean, it comes down to just simple thing like that, like, it's being able to enjoy the other person's differences and still being able to be different yourself.
Well, I think, so in a sense, like, the maturity level, I think, is very simple. Like, it's very simple in the sense of, like, we respect each other's boundaries, we have mutual respect for each other, we're honest with each other, and, like, and that's the other side when I'm talking about the insecurities, right? Like, you have to understand in a relationship, like, I always look at, like, cheating. I always use that as an example because, that's the one that always gets everybody all caught up in shit. But I have to look at, like, that might happen in your relationship. But I have to trust that you're going to tell me. And I can then make my decision from there if I want to continue in this relationship or move on. And, like, I think that reality is like, if we could just be open and honest with each other, that takes care of most of this. It's just being honest with each other and saying, like, this is what it is. When I'm in what's the word? Like, when I'm not mature enough in a relationship, when emotionally I'm not mature, right? And we look at, like, what are the signs, like, that means, like, I'm around people that are going to dismiss my emotions, right? Um, Invalidate like my experiences or my viewpoints on things. You're not gonna respect you're not gonna respect me, and like you're not gonna show compassion on like how your actions might affect me, right? Because like in a relationship, especially in the beginning of a relationship, you're kind of learning what is it that affects me and what doesn't affect me. And if I'm saying like, hey, this affects me, or even if like the girl I'm with, if she, if she starts saying to me like, these actions affect me, and I'm like too fucking bad. All right, it's time to go. You know what I mean? Like, I think at that point, that's the first like, whew, time to go. You know what I mean? And but I mean, that's just for me. I mean, that's what I think. Cause we did another episode where we talk about red flags, and one, I don't really believe in red flags, cause like I think red flags is bullshit in the sense of like, I can't tell you what is a red flag. I can tell you what's a red flag for me because it's my boundaries. But like I also know that what is not okay for me might be okay for you, and what's not, and vice versa. So I can't sit here and tell you like, oh bro, that's a red flag, like you need to get out of that, right? Because you might be okay with that. You know what I mean?
I think emotional maturity is when I can deal with my girlfriend's friends bringing over their new boyfriend for a play date with me, and I'm like, I can't stand this dude. You know what I mean? But like, I love my girlfriend. I might not like her friend or her sister's choices in like boyfriends, but like I can express that to her. Like I've had that experience. Like,
Yo, that's funny.
I do not want to be around this dude. He's a toll. Like, I love your sister or your friend, and like I'm cool with that. But can you just like,
yeah, I got it.
like have a third wheel luncheon without me? Like I'm gonna go fishing, or I'm gonna go
That's
for
a good
walk.
question. Like, why
Like,
do
I'm gonna start crocheting when he comes around? You know,
I
like,
want to know why girls do that? That's a good question, right? I'm not a female, so I don't know. Um, so maybe if you're watching this, feel free to put your answer in the comments or something for me to see. But women do that a lot, right? Where it's like, hey, I made this friend, she's got this boyfriend, and like I end up on a play date. You know what I mean? And you're like, wait, hold on a minute.
we have nothing in common.
Luckily, so far, the friends, the ones that my girlfriend, like her friends that actually are dating somebody, I do like them, right? Like I'm like, all right, this is cool. We just did one last night. My girlfriend was like, I got this new friend. You're gonna go hang out. We're gonna go hang out, and she's her husband, and I'm like, great. And I'm just driving. I'm driving to the house, like, what am I getting into? But I got there. I met the guy, and like, it was cool. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we actually had a lot in common. We sat there and talked about video games most of the night, and like, you know what I mean? And like, it was cool. But and then she's done that to me a couple times. So far, I've liked everyone, but it is crazy how like you end up on play dates.
Like, we're in a good relationship and they want our advice, or like,
I don't know.
Like, honestly, God, like,
I think it's because, and I'm just speculating because, like, again, I'm not a female, but I think that I think it turns into like, this is my friend, and if you're friends with them, then we can go on couple dates and like we can do stuff as a couple. Guys are different, right? Because like I always am like, yeah, he's got a girlfriend. Like if you don't like her, then don't hang out with her. I don't know, don't talk to her. Like, you don't have to be friends with her. Or I'll be like, do you want to go? Like I don't know, you don't have to. I don't try to set her up on play dates. You know what I mean? Yeah, I'm just like, I don't know. Like I guess he's dating somebody. I never really thought of that until now. That's funny how that shit happens.
I play dates all the time.
Yeah.
And I'm cool with it, you know what I mean? Because I'd do anything for the relationship I'm in, but, like, whew, I've been around some people, I'm just like, oh, Like, okay, when's this gonna be over? Oh, it's only been 15 minutes. Oh shit, you know, like.
Yeah.
But like, and yeah, I've met some cool people that I've got along with, but like, why is it different? You know, like, why is it different?
Yeah.
But,
That's funny.
you know, I guess it comes down to the maturity of a relationship where we gotta trust that our play dates are gonna be fun.
You know, when we're talking about maturity, you know something I want to talk about, and this will probably hit the real. Like, you know something that's confusing, and we're going to end up way off topic because that's just what we do. Um, you know, I've seen a lot of this lately, and I don't get it. And God bless all the women out there that have to deal with this shit. When guys are sending random dick pics to these girls, right? Like, when in the history of has that ever worked? And what the fuck are you thinking, right? Like to me, like, you know, if a guy is just randomly doing that, right then and there, bro, you're toxic as fuck, and you should probably recognize that, like, this is why you're not dealing with, this is why you're not connecting on an intimate level with anybody, right? Because I see this a lot from people, which is wild, because I don't know if you talk to any of the females in your life, but
Yeah.
like the females in my life, whether it be, you know, like my girlfriend, her friends, you know, my sister, Nikki got all kinds of crazy stories. Like, just random guys that half the time they don't even know who these fuckers are, or they will know who they are. They'll have a few conversations, and then boom, here's a picture of their cock.
Yeah.
And it's like, what the hell's going on in this world? Like that shit blows my mind.
And it ranges from like the young group to even the older group of people.
Yeah, it's fucking wild.
My girlfriend's sister has made the comment that her inbox should be sponsored by Oscar Mayer. Like, honest to God, she's like, I can't go a week without all of a sudden open up a message and there's, you know what I mean? Like why? Like, who do they really want to see that?
And,
probably not.
And I think that, like, I had a guy one time that I was talking to about this. I was like, bro, like, what possessed you, right? And they're like, I don't know. I just thought that, like, maybe it would help. And I'm like, okay, so let's talk about what you're looking for. You want a relationship that is, you're connecting with the person, right? And you want that emotional connection. You want that mental connection, not just the physical. You want all of it. Do you really think that that's the way to start off, right? Like, I want to get with this girl, so I'm going to send her a random pic, right? And then you get these other weirdos out here, right? Again, we're talking about, now we've kind of stepped into, like, a whole nother realm, but we get these other weirdos that talk to me about they want this emotional connection with the whatever. They become friends with the girl and then get mad because the girl doesn't want a relationship with them. And it's like,
stuck in her friend zone.
Well, the friend zone's a real thing, but like if you're there, like that's who you are. Like, you're her friend.
Yeah.
Like, if she wanted to be with you, she would be with you. And I've watched a couple guys where, you know, they got put in the friend zone. The girl's in a relationship, and then they try to make their move. And it's like,
respect.
one, obviously you're not a friend. Two, you're a snake because you've been hanging around just waiting for an opportunity. And three, why would you want her then? Right? Because, like, now she just cheated on, if she actually cheats on her boyfriend with you, then that means she's going to do it with you with the next guy that she's friends with, which then creates all these other insecurities in the relationship. So emotional maturity would be, like, if you're going to be a friend with a girl, be a friend, right? If you want more than that, be honest up front and be like, you know, I want more than that. And if she says no, then move on. Don't even try to be a friend because you've already crossed that line. Yeah. And I think that I see a lot of weird shit happen in people's lives because of that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, a lot of, I've never understood that because, like, I've always looked at, like, I always look at, like, if a girl's my friend, she's my friend.
She's my friend. We're not going nowhere else.
Like, I'll respect that you're my friend. You respect it. I'm your friend. We're in relationship. Like, because that's the thing. Like, if somebody wants to be in a relationship with you, they're gonna be in a relationship with you. You know what I mean? A lot of weird shit anymore, and that's that immature shit.
Yeah, like if someone's in a relationship, respect that they're in a relationship and don't cross that boundary.
Just be mature. We should bring Nikki on for this shit.
Okay. If you're listening, you're coming back.
Yeah. She got some stories.
Oh, my, does she have some stories?
Yeah, she does.
Right down to the...
The funniest thing that ever happened, I'm going to put her on blast. And I'm going to put a bunch of people on blast for this. But Nikki, one time, I'll never forget this because this made me laugh hysteric. Well, it is for... There's one time this guy come at her trying to be all slick. She looked at him and said, "You're wearing skinny jeans. I promise you, you have nothing I want. You have nothing to offer me.
Nothing.
I'm good." And like, talk about ego deflating, right? Like, I just watched the dude die in the corner. I was like, my God. I was like, well, vicious. But like, reality of it though, like maturity levels is, I think that you have to know your line. And I think that, like, until you know you can't, you're not going to be mature enough to understand what a relationship is. Like, I had to really evaluate myself and look at, like, what do I want in a relationship? What am I okay with? What am I not okay with? And, like, when I first got with the girl I'm with, the first week of our relationship was crazy because it was us really talking about, this is what I'm not okay with. This is what I'm okay with. What about you? And like, we had that real conversation, and like for 3 months before eventually we were like, all right, let's do this. Let's make this official. Let's really start dating. And then like, all right, you want this, I want this. We can grow in life together. And a lot of this has been, and something I've learned about the maturity level is understanding that there's times where she's doing some shit that I'm like, this isn't good. Like, it's not healthy. But I have to let her have her own journey in growth. Just like there's times where I do the same shit and she lets me have my own journey and growth. Because I can't, in a relationship, we can't prevent people from going through a journey of like, you're going to make some mistakes and it's okay. And we can do this together, And like, to me, like, that's a relationship. Is us being able to sit down and say, we're going to fuck up, but we'll get this together. We'll figure it out together. When everything fucks up, we'll figure it out. We got this together because we're supposed to move as a team. You know what I mean?
Or when life kicks you square in the jaw with some out of control, like off the wall, you never seen it coming. Like, that's when, like, relationships get tested. And yeah, like, we've had some experiences where, like, you never would have seen that coming, but the way we responded together without even communicating was just, it's priceless. Like, we understand each other's boundaries. We know where they're at, and going forward, like, it's like an onset thing when, like, bad shit has happened in our relationship from one thing to another. Like, just the response and the way we handle what each other's going through with the same experience, like, that shows how much growth we've had so far.
Yeah, and absolutely.
Like, yeah.
Well, here's the thing. I'm pretty hungry.
You hungry?
I think we should go get something to eat.
Okay? I think so too.
So, listen, I appreciate you guys for watching us. I hope you learned something. I know, like, for a minute we kind of rambled for a minute, and that's okay, right? Like, the whole point of this is to try to give you guys a different perspective to where maybe you can learn something. hopefully you get something from us. If you don't, man, I got plenty episodes on this channel, or you just watch another channel. I don't know.
Yeah.
I appreciate you for actually listening to us. I hope you got something. I hope you learned something about yourself. Maybe learn, like, hey, maybe I should do something a little different. By no means do we have all the answers, right? Still fucked up individuals, But hey, I appreciate you, right? You could have been anywhere in the world, but you chose to be here with us. Appreciate that. Yeah, man, be on the lookout. We got some cool shit happening this season, so make sure you're watching. I'm going to go get something to eat, and you guys have a good night.
Hopefully they send you a crochet blanket.
Yeah, crochet blanket. It'll be alright. Alright, man, thanks for watching.